Hi, my name is Garrett. I'm the COO and co-founder of Microgreen Manager, and today we're going to talk about how Microgreen Manager calculates the number of trays you need to plant to fulfill all your orders on time. So what we have here is our orders page. These orders are complete, so we'll look at this new one we just created. If we click into it, first off, we can see that the total number of trays associated with this order is 4.26. We'll call this type of tray count a fractional tray count because there's 26 100ths, or about a quarter of a tray worked in here. If we scroll down, we'll see more fractional trays for each of the crops that we need. In this case, these three, broccoli, cabbage, and kohlrabi, are for our nutrition mix, and the arugula is for the arugula order. Now, as a reminder, when you made the crops, you gave them an expected yield. The average yield per tray, in this case, is 6 ounces per tray for the broccoli, 7 ounces for cabbage, 6 ounces for kohlrabi, and 5.5 ounces for arugula. So what the software is doing in this order is it's saying we need a certain amount of each crop to fulfill this order. The other layer here is that your nutrition mix or any blends has both the average yield per tray for each crop of that blend, but also the by weight percent contribution that each crop is contributing to that blend. So in this case, a roughly equal split of 1/3 each. That'll go toward the total 20 ounces, which means about 6 to 7 ounces per crop for this whole nutrition mix order. And so what the software is doing is it's saying we need a certain amount of ounces of product for each crop, for each part of this order. Let's take that amount needed. In this case, we need 6 ounces total of arugula and 20 ounces of nutrition mix, split roughly a third each to each of the three crops within this. So again, about 6 or 7 ounces each. Then it's going to take that 6 or 7 ounces and it's going to divide by the average yield per tray that you gave it to come out with the number of trays needed to fulfill this order. So each of them yields about 6 ounces per crop per tray, and each one is required in about 6 or 7 ounces for this order, which is why most of them are coming back at about 1 tray. Now, these fractional trays will eventually, in the tasks page, get rounded up to the next full tray. So remember what I said, this is a fractional number here. This is the very specific, just based off that calculation, volume needed divided by average yield per tray that you'll need to fulfill this order. But we'll see down here that the number of trays you're planting is actually 7, because anything here is going to get rounded up to the next whole number. So the 1.1 will go to 2, 0.97 will go to 1, 1.1 to 2, and 1.09 to 2 as well, which gives us the 7 trays that we need to plant. And the reason we did it both ways is that as the user, we want you to understand what is going on in the background, that you only need, from a volume perspective, a certain number of trays. But from a practical perspective, when you go to your tasks page, we'll see that all of those fractional trays are now rounded up to the next whole number. And we do this because most, if not all, farmers are using 10 by 20 inch trays or 10/20 trays. And most, if not all, farmers are not going to plant a partial tray. If not that, it's impractical to, or if not impossible, to plant a partial tray. For example, if we look down here, nobody's going to be so specific as to plant 0.97 of a tray or 1.1 of 2 trays, if you will. So that's what's going on when in the background the order is submitted. The software is using the average yield per tray for crops, as well as, when necessary, the percent contribution of that crop in a blend to generate the number of trays down to the 2 decimal points that is needed to fulfill the order, but is then rounding up individual crops and those plantings to be the next whole number, because that is the practical outcome of what's going on in real life in your farm.